It all started when 16-year-old Ethan's mom decided to clean his room, a rare but catastrophic event in Ethan's world. As she sifted through the chaos of crumpled papers, empty chip bags, and suspiciously sticky soda cans, her eyes landed on his backpack. Ethan, known for his aversion to cleaning, had left it stuffed under his bed. The bag was unusually heavy. Curious and slightly annoyed, his mom unzipped it, expecting to find forgotten textbooks or gym clothes. Instead, she found a bong. Yes, a bong. Bright blue with swirls of neon green and a questionable sticky residue inside. For a moment, she just stared at it, her brain cycling through disbelief, shock, and, oddly enough, amusement. She took the bong downstairs and placed it on the dining table like a centerpiece. Then she called out, "Ethan, can we have a quick chat?" Ethan appeared in the doorway, munching on a granola bar, his carefree demeanor instantly vanishing as he spotted the bong. His face turned bright red. "Mom, what are you doing with that?" "I could ask you the same thing," she said, crossing her arms. "Care to explain why this was in your backpack?" I had to let it go, though. I was clearly upset, and I couldn't stop laughing, Ethan stammered. It's not what you think." "Oh, so it's not a bong." "Well, it is, but it's not mine. It's for a science project." His mom raised an eyebrow. "A science project? You expect me to believe that?" "Yes," Ethan exclaimed, suddenly animated. "We were testing how different shapes of glass can affect airflow. It's for a physics class." She stared at him, her expression a mix of skepticism and amusement. "And the sticky residue?" Ethan froze. We use soda to simulate airflow. You know, carbonation and stuff." At that moment, Ethan's dad walked into the room, stopping in his tracks when he saw the bong. "What's going on here?" Ethan's mom gestured dramatically at the table. "Apparently, this is for a science project." Ethan's dad nodded slowly, suppressing a grin. Yes, the old, it's for school, excuse." "It's true," Ethan protested. "I swear." His mom shook her head, laughing despite herself. "Listen, I'm not mad, but if you're going to keep something like this in the house, at least be smart about it, and maybe don't store it in your school bag." Ethan sighed in relief. "So, I'm not grounded?" His dad smirked. "Oh, you're grounded, but only because your excuse was terrible. Science project? Come on, Ethan, you can do better than that." The bong was confiscated, but the story became family legend. Every so often, Ethan's parents would bring it up at dinner, much to his embarrassment. Years later, at Ethan's graduation party, his dad handed him a box. Inside was the bong, freshly cleaned, with a note taped to it. "Congratulations on completing your science project. Love, Mom and Dad." Parental instincts are a strange thing. Sometimes you just know it's time to check your kid's room and tidy up. That's exactly what one mom decided to do, armed with a trash bag and a sense of impending doom. At first, everything seemed normal, piles of wrinkled clothes, empty chip bags, and bottles of water. But then, a suspicious smell wafted up from under the bed. With a mix of dread and determination, she reached for the source. A box. Carefully lifting the lid, she froze. Inside the box were several decomposing frogs. Frogs. They looked like forgotten science experiments left behind in some mad scientist's lab. "What in the world is this?" she whispered, almost dropping the box. On the lid was a neatly written label, Project Dead Army. "Do not touch." This can't be real, she thought, as she braced herself for whatever horrors the room had in store. This can't be real. I couldn't imagine, she thought, and then I couldn't believe what I was reading, seeing that they were made of dead bodies. thousands of them. Next, she found a backpack, unusually heavy and filled with strange objects. She unzipped it and discovered a jar of water with dried pasta floating inside, labeled giant mollusk in progress, half a soccer ball covered in foil, tagged alien communication device, and a handful of candy expired 2 years ago. I'll be thinking. At this point, she wasn't sure whether to laugh or cry. She called for backup, her husband, and showed him the box of frogs and the backpack's bizarre contents. "What do you think this is?" she asked, handing him the box. Without missing a beat, he replied, "I think our kid is either planning to take over the world or the school cafeteria." But the chaos didn't stop there. Peeking into the closet, they found what could only be described as a museum of madness, a rock with a face drawn on it, accompanied by a sign that read, "This is my boss," a cardboard hat with a plastic fork glued to it, and a collection of empty pizza boxes, each labeled with dates, as if they were historical archives. When their child came home, the interrogation began. "What is this?" the mom demanded, holding up the box of frogs. Okay. Her child instantly turned pale. "Mom, you weren't supposed to touch that. It's for a school project." "A project? What kind of project?" "We were studying organic decomposition," the kid blurted out. "It's science, Mom." "And you needed an army of dead frogs for this science," the dad chimed in, barely holding back laughter. "Well, I thought it would impress the teacher." "Makes sense." The mom closed her eyes, taking a deep breath to stay calm. "And the foil hat? Was that science too?" "That was for my friend. We thought we could catch alien signals." At this point, the dad lost it and burst out laughing. The mom shook her head but couldn't help joining in. The box of frogs was eventually disposed of, after much negotiation, but the rest was left untouched. Every kid, after all, has a bit of a mad scientist dreamer and chaos master inside them. Now, this story has become a favorite family joke, brought up at almost every dinner. Parents rarely ventured into their kids' shared bedroom. It was a sacred space ruled by chaos and a mutual no adults allowed policy. But one day, when Mom noticed a strange smell wafting from the room, she decided enough was enough. She stepped in, took one look at the mess, and sighed. Socks on the floor, crumpled papers everywhere. Typical. But then she heard something else in the corner. Is that a mouse? Or did a stray cat sneak in? She wondered as she cautiously moved closer. Just as she bent down to investigate, a pigeon shot out from under a pile of clothes and textbooks. A real, live pigeon. It wasn't in great shape either. One wing drooped slightly, its feathers were sticky with who knows what, and its eyes had the haunted look of a bird who'd seen too much. Mom screamed and jumped back, knocking over a basket of laundry. The pigeon let out a defiant coo and flew to the top of the bookshelf, knocking over a stack of comic books in the process. "What is this?" she yelled. Hearing the commotion, Dad came running, holding a cup of coffee. He stopped dead in his tracks when he saw the pigeon perched proudly atop the bookshelf like some bizarre trophy. Are we keeping it?" he asked, sipping his coffee nonchalantly. At that moment, their two kids, Emma and Jack, appeared in the doorway. Jack started, but Emma interrupted. "It's not what it looks like." "Oh, really?" Mom crossed her arms. "Because it looks like there's a pigeon living in your room." The siblings exchanged nervous glances. Jack finally confessed. "Okay, we found it in the park. It couldn't fly, and it looks so sad. We couldn't just leave it there." "So you smuggled it into the house?" Dad raised an eyebrow. "Without telling us?" Emma jumped in. "We were going to set it free. We just needed to help it get better first." Mom was trying to stay serious, but the image of her kids sneaking a pigeon into the house like it was some top secret mission made her want to laugh. "And Where exactly was this rehabilitation taking place? She asked. Emma gestured toward a cardboard box in the corner. Inside was a nest made of mismatched socks, some breadcrumbs, and a tiny bowl of water. That's surprisingly thoughtful, Dad admitted. But then Mom noticed something. What is that on its wing? Is that peanut butter? Jack winced. We thought it might help it stick its feathers back together. Dad burst out laughing. You're telling me you tried to glue a bird back together with peanut butter? Emma glared at him. It was organic. At this point, the pigeon, clearly tired of being the center of attention, flew down and landed on Dad's head. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Completely unfazed. I guess it likes me now. Mom shook her head, glared at Dad, glistening. Gift for your answer. We laughed. Okay, we need to get this bird out of here before it becomes part of the family. The family took the pigeon to a wildlife rescue center the next day. Emma and Jack reluctantly said goodbye to their feathered friend, and the room was scrubbed clean, though the peanut butter stain on the bookshelf remains a family mystery. Years later, the story of the peanut butter pigeon is still a favorite at family dinners, especially when Mom likes to remind everyone who really rules the house